Yo, what is up YouTube? It's your boy Smequle, and in today's video, we're going to be finding out what would happen if the top 10 players in the league right now just retired all of a sudden, didn't play out the rest of their career, and just retired in the next season or this past season. So we're going to be using the current teams, except the top 10 players won't be on their teams, and we're going to find out how the standings would actually be affected. And we're going to find out what happens into the next season. So the players we decided to retire, we picked the top 10 overall in the game. So LeBron James is obviously the highest. He's the best player in the league right now. Then we got Kawhi Leonard, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, Paul George, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then these 10 players are retiring from the league, and we're going to see what actually ends up happening. Alright, so looking at the players now, Kyrie Irving is now the best player in the league without LeBron on the team. He goes up 1 overall. He's the best player. Then we got John Wall, Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, Damian Lillard, Karl Anthony Towns, DeRozan, and then those are the top players in the 90s. Towns and DeRozan went up 1 overall, but leave a comment down below what team you think will win with all the best players injured. For teams, I think the Bulls, Celtics, and the Raptors will have a really good chance at winning, as well as the Grizzlies. Don't think the Warriors will do quite as good. Don't think the Jazz will take it, and then the Clippers don't have Chris Paul anymore. So the best team, in my opinion, is the Raptors now. They have the 2 best players. I mean, 2 of the best players in the league now that the top 10 are out of the league. We're going to find out here. Okay. All right, we're going to start the simulation here. I'm on the Cavaliers, but it doesn't really matter. But we're going to simulate into the mid-season and see what the standings are like there, who's doing the best in the league, and everything like that. So the trade deadline we're going to sim to and find out what's happening at that point. Alright, so we're at the trade deadline now, and the Cavaliers are actually still second in the conference. Kind of surprising. They started off really poorly. If we look at their record here, they were just taking L's all over the place. But then they went on a huge win streak and started turning it around. 34-21, still not the best record, but I'm surprised they even made it that far. So we're going to be looking at the standings midway through the season, or about midway. So as I predicted, the Raptors are up on top, 40-17, and the Cavaliers are 34-21, and then a few teams trailing right behind them. Celtics, Bulls aren't doing too bad, Wizards aren't doing the best, and then the Pacers are actually in last place because they don't have Paul George on their team anymore. So their team is really not what it used to be. If we look at, show their team here, this is their lineup right now: Brandon Jennings, Jeff Teague, CJ Miles, Ryan Anderson. Just not a good team really at all. They only have a few players over that 80 mark. And then going over to the Western Conference, the Grizzlies are actually up on top. I thought they might have done the best. The Warriors are still actually doing pretty good. I mean, they still have Clay and Draymond. Clay's up to a 90 and Draymond's at an 87. So with those two, they're not doing too bad. Spurs not doing the best. And then down at the bottom, we got the Pellies. They lost both DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis. They had 2 players in the top 10, so they lost both of them. Warriors lost 2 players as well, but not as much of a big hit at them. Spurs aren't doing the best either. And of course, the Rockets are down below, as well as the OKC Thunder. And then we're going to look at the standings as well, the statistics. Let's look at the league leaders. Klay Thompson is leading the league in points with 29.7. We got Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Isaiah Thomas, and DeRozan is up in 5th. So kind of close how it is now. I mean, we have a few other players up there in real life. DeRozan and Isaiah Thomas are still in that top 5, and then a few other players emerge without the best players being up there. And Kyrie Irving is actually injured, as well as John Wall. So that might be an issue for some of the best teams there. But we're going to go into the second half of the season, see how the rest of the season plays out, and find out who wins the championship. Okay, so at the end of the season, the Cavaliers end up going 50-32, so still getting those 50 wins, but Jimmy Butler gets the MVP, Joel Embiid Rookie of the Year, Mason Plumlee gets 6th man, Andre Drummond, defensive player. It's usually how it turns out. Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond get those two, and then Nikola Jokic gets most improved, and then Dwayne Casey, which with coach of the year, only getting 4 more wins than the Cavaliers, though, even though the Cavs lost LeBron. But we're going into the playoffs now. Looking at the first teams, Jimmy Butler made it, of course, MVP. Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, Draymond Green, Nikola Jokic. I guess Klay Thompson didn't make it up there. He didn't even make the second team either. And then third team, DeMar DeRozan's in there. He's injured though. Karl Anthony Towns, Tyreek Evans made the third team. That's kind of surprising right there. Defensive team, Draymond Green on there again, and Jimmy Butler. And then winding up all this, these are the same rookie teams. And then we're going right into the playoffs now. On the right side, we got Toronto with the first seed, and in the Western Conference, we got Memphis, and then Portland as the final seed. Lakers made it, and the Mavericks made it as well to the playoffs, and the Nuggets. And then over on the Eastern Conference, the 76ers made it in, and the Magic. Those are the only two teams that didn't make it in real life, so not too much different, but still a bit different. And we're going to simulate the first round of the playoffs, see who all moves on. Cleveland Cavaliers actually get eliminated in the first round by the Washington Wizards. 4-0 sweep for them right there. Toronto moves on, Chicago moves on, Philly, Washington. The Mavericks move on, they beat Golden State. And then Memphis obviously wins, and the Lakers, I think it might be Memphis and Toronto in these finals right here, but let's find out. So second round, and the Bulls actually sweep the Raptors, and the Sixers beat the Wizards, and Dallas moves on to the Western Conference Finals. Let's find out who wins the whole thing here. Who goes to the finals? It is the Bulls versus Memphis, and probably Memphis will take this. Yeah, they take it 4-3. The Grizzlies end up winning the championship when the top 10 players aren't in the league anymore. I mean, they got a pretty solid team, one of the best teams in the league right now. They did a good job against the Spurs. Weren't able to beat them though, but they got a bunch of good players. They got Marc Gasol and Mike Conley. Zach Randolph isn't too bad either. So a really powerful squad for them, and they're actually able to take the championship. Jimmy Butler didn't play too well. We're going to simulate into the second season and what would happen after a second season of play without the top 10 players. All right, we're into the second season now. Looking at the Cavs roster, it's pretty much the same roster. Signed a few other players, but Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, the top players still. Isaiah Thomas still on the Celtics. Blake Griffin and DeAndre on the Clippers. Looking like the teams are about the same. I mean, a few trades here and there. Hawks actually lost Paul Millsap. Still got Schroeder and Howard, though. And the Heat got Whiteside. Hornets. Gordon Hayward's up to an 89 overall. Kings still suck. Porzingis is an 86. Carmelo's 84. Lakers still around the same. Most of the teams are around the same. Not many trades that I'm seeing here for any good players, really. Raptors got the same team. Spurs, yeah, still the same team. They got Gallinari on their team now, though. And who's that? Danny Green. I thought it was Draymond Green for a sec. Suns, pretty much the same team. And the Thunder are the same team as well. They don't have Westbrook because he's injured. But Karl Anthony Towns up to a 92 overall. And let's actually look at the highest overall players now. Karl Anthony Towns and Jimmy Butler up to 92. Isaiah Thomas also at a 91. And then everybody else is around the same. DeRozan's at an 89 now. He went down. Clay's up to a 90. And everybody else is pretty much the same as last season. But we're going to simulate halfway through this season again. See what's happening halfway through the season. And then simulate the rest after. Alright, we're about halfway through the season now at the trade deadline. Going to look at the standings in this year. So in the Eastern, the Chicago Bulls are at the top. Boston Celtics, Wizards, and then Cavaliers are in at the number 8 spot, barely making the playoffs, 2 ahead of the Pacers. Let's find out if they will actually be able to make it. And then going into the Western, the Kings are on the top of the league. They drafted Lonzo Ball. He's been doing really good, I guess. And they are now the best team in the West. Denver Nuggets, same record as them, though. And then we got the Rockets, Jazz, Warriors are kind of near the bottom. And then OKC isn't even in the playoffs. Spurs, Pelicans, Trailblazers, all not in the playoffs. So a lot differently than how it was the season before. And then if we go to league leaders, Damian Lillard leading the lead in points. We got Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie Irving, DeRozan, and Jimmy Butler. So kind of the people you'd expect to be up there leading the league in points. And we're going to simulate to the playoffs now and find out how that turns out. So at the end of the season, the Cavaliers ended up going 40-42. They didn't actually end up making the playoffs, but Jimmy Butler, MVP, I think he got it last year as well. Lonzo gets Rookie of the Year, kind of expected. Greg Monroe, 6th man. Andre Drummond gets Defensive Player of the Year again. Nerlens Noel, Most Improved. And then Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets going 60-22 gets Coach of the Year. And if we look at all the standings here, Kevin Love makes the first all-team, even though he didn't even make the playoffs here. So this is the East. We got the Bulls, the Nets. Surprised the Nets made it. The 76ers, Wizards, Knicks, Raptors, Celtics, and the Heat. And then in the West, we got Nuggets, Memphis, Clippers, Rockets, Warriors, Timberwolves. Kings made it this season, and the Jazz. Not much different than how it is in real life, except the Nuggets. I mean, a few teams that you wouldn't really see there. And same with the East. A lot of teams that, would actually make it. A few upsets like Brooklyn, 76ers, and the Knicks. But let's find out how the first round of the playoff turns out here. The Cavaliers didn't make it, so the best team in the East didn't actually make it into the playoffs. And the Bulls end up 4-0ing the Nets. I honestly think the Bulls might actually end up winning this one. And the Knicks beat the Raptors, and then the Heat actually beat the Celtics as well. So let's simulate this round 2. Looking like the Knicks and Bulls move on, and Knicks get a 4-0 W. Let's see how everybody did on the team. Derrick Rose, Porzingis, Anthony. I mean, they got a bunch of other people going off. And then Kings and Clippers are actually in the Western Conference Finals. And then let's see who's going to go on. It's Bulls and Clippers in the finals. Who is going to win this? Looking like the Clippers. They get a 4-1 W right here. Frank Ntilikina, I don't even know who that is, gets the MVP. Kind of surprising right there. DeAndre Jordan, J. Redick, Blake Griffin, they all did pretty good in that game. But there you have it, guys. Clippers end up winning the finals in the second year. Grizzlies won in the first year. The league is completely different now. The teams that used to be the best are no longer the best. So that's what would happen if the top 10 players actually retired. A bunch of those teams would not do nearly as good. They would not make it to the finals. They would not be the team they are without their best players. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to smash the like button, and I'll see you next time. Peace.